Update 1.1, that's going to be coming out in, I think it's about 10 days from the recording of this video. Big changes are happening. I know everyone's already reacted to them and everything. I was at work when all this shit came out like 2 days ago, and then I just haven't been able to get around to it. So my bad, I don't get to get right on it with the videos, but we can talk about this. Instead of reacting to it, we can talk about it. Plan about it a little bit. Strategy, right? That's what I like. So, couple big things with version 1.1. First thing, we already know this tuner synthesis feature. It allows us to turn our older, weaker tuners into the gold ones. Now, yes, we are also going to be able to turn the blue ones into purples. So we have a bunch of blue ones we can turn to purples, and then most of us have thousands of purples that we can now turn into hundreds of golds. And we get a lot of purples from events. I'm going to assume that's going to actually slow down, because now that we're going to have UL 21, where we will have a 100% drop chance of 5-star echoes, we are probably not going to get purples anymore from events. So just outright, if your databank is lower than UL, 15, when you can get 5 stars, get there immediately, because you're just not going to be able to build the 4-star echoes that you're getting. Plus, they won't really matter much, but it's a dumb waste of time, waster of materials. You just need to get up to UL 15, or not UL 15, databank 15 at least. And ideally closer to that 19 mark when you're getting that 80%, because it's just all going to lean to the legendary ones from now on. Second thing, the increased Union XP reward for unlocking new echoes. This is going to be a retroactive effect, so we're all going to jump up quite a few UL levels at the maximum databank level. Like, once 1.1 hits, I'm going to be databank level 21 already. I'm already there. I'm maybe 40 off, which means I just need to go get a 5-star echo of literally any new mob in 1.1. The new boss, for example, right? I'll be there. Guaranteed 5-star drops, which is going to be awesome. We are going to get a bunch more Union XP for that, which will probably jump, like, I'm going to be UL 45 or 46 by the time that happens. It'll probably jump me up to UL 50. I don't know. I'm not going to make massive assumptions, but it's probably going to be a sizable increase, right? Higher cost range for echoes rewarded for activity points. This being, there's no more cost 1 echoes from the activity point reward pool when you finish all 5 of your, like, 20, 40, 60, 80, 100 of your dailies, and then you get the 2000 XP and an echo. Now it's 3 and 4 cost echoes to help you try to get those 3 cost echoes that are on set on attribute, rather than a bunch of 1-star echoes that don't, or 1 cost echoes that don't really matter that you get a bunch of, right? I mean, really, you're only going to keep a couple of the best ones for each element in each type of build. Like, Encore and Cashy share literally the same pieces. You're not going to need 4 1-cost echoes, just 2 good 1-cost echoes, and then you swap them. So we'll be getting 3 and 4 cost echoes. This will enable us to, over time, the more you play, pretty much guarantee you get the 3 cost pieces you need, even if you're not hunting for them specifically. So it allows us a bit more freedom, if we're not impatient and trying to clear content quickly, to eventually get the builds we are going to want a little bit easier. Databank level increase to 21. Everything's going to be 5-star rarity. That's huge for us. New area, Mount Firmament. So this is going to be what I'm assuming is going to be the equivalent to how Dragonspine is for Genshin. We are basically getting a whole mountain area. It's got multiple levels, which I believe it gets into right here. Yep, multiple levels. This will eventually also propagate itself throughout the rest of Jue, because the layered map, obviously, it's like difficult to code and set everything up, but they're doing it for this area first for us, because it's going to be a very tall, multi-layered. I mean, that looks like, what, 4 layers? 3 layers and then a boss? So there's going to be some exploration to do. I don't think it's going to be as big as Dragonspine, but this is also update 1.1. Dragonspine was a little later than that. So this is a nice little inclusion of another little area for us. We got some other optimizations. There's no tacit field reward collection animation, which is great. It's just going to speed up tacit field farming because it's not going to do the whole zoom out reward thing. Shell credit cost lowered for echo leveling. They're really making the echo grind a lot less on us, which is really, really good because it is probably the grindiest part of the game. And with how RNG it can be, it's not the most fun to dump a bunch of resources into it and still not be getting the good pieces that you want. Problem is, I almost wonder if it's going to become too easy to get the pieces that are really good on characters that you want. We're probably going to start seeing a lot of free-to-plays even having basically maxed out characters with max roll on every piece eventually, because they keep making it easier and easier and easier to get, which is not even that free-to-plays, but also pay-to-wins, right? I think the echo farming should be part of the end game grind. But I do wonder if they keep releasing new areas and new databank levels, could it be possible in the future we step into the realm of 6-star echoes? The reason I say this is two reasons. A, because Punishing Grey Raven did that, which is Kuro Games' other game. B, the fact that, I mean, think about Genshin Impact damage showcases. You're having characters hit for millions of damage in like one big hit, with not even as high of scalings as Wuthering Waves. I wonder if we are eventually going to have higher level echoes to help supplement that damage. Because in Genshin Impact, you have elemental resonance, elemental weaknesses, all this stuff, right? In this game, we have like elemental weakness and resistance type things, but it doesn't matter as much for our overall damage output. Up, like if they resist us, obviously we're a lot weaker, but if not, I mean, it doesn't do a lot. I do wonder how we are going to be hitting for those big screenshot million plus damage hits, because in my mind, even without maxed out echo, or even with maxed out echoes, I don't think we're hitting those numbers. I mean, Gion's ult, when enhanced, can hit for close to 500,000, and then like use the rest of his ult's hits and it can probably get close, but I don't think you deal 1 million damage in his ult alone. And he's probably the best one for it. So I do wonder how we are going to be able to get up to that level. Because I am assuming by update 2, update 3, right? We're going to be closer to that level because the bosses and everything are going to be harder. They're going to be like, it's either going to be bigger health pools, which is going to be the case, but there's also going to be the bosses have more mechanics, harder mechanics, new bosses, harder bosses, all this stuff. Like right now we're in easy mode of the game. We haven't even gotten to the hard, difficult enemies yet because they're trying to ease us into it, right? So at some point, we're going to have to fight some big super mega massive Geoshalone or whatever that has got a bajillion health. How are we going to be dealing that damage? I wonder if 6-star echoes is a thing in the future. That is possibly something we're looking at. I hope not, and I don't think so. But it could be, especially now that we can craft up. Maybe by UL 60, 70, 80. We already know we go up to like UL 90 because of the leveling rewards. By UL 90, maybe our premium currency rewards, because it's 20 at UL 50. So UL 70 is 30, UL 90 it's 40. We get 40 premium tuners at UL 90 every tacit field run. Maybe it's a 25 for or a 5-for-1 exchange again, however it's going to be, right? That means 40 gets us 8 of a 6-star tuner. So you can get a handful of 6-star tunes. You know, that could be a possibility in the future just for kind of power creepy scaling type stuff. So you never know. You got to think about it though. Simplified the Cruise Wing challenge. They slowed it down and extended the time limit to make it more manageable. I actually don't like this change. This is a change I do not like. I've done the Cruise Wing, at least 2 Cruise Wing challenges before now. I like that they're fast. I think that that's part of the challenge. I think if you're not able to keep up with that non-boosted speed, skill issue get better, right? Because I wasn't exactly boosting my speed because that was a little hard to manage for most of the maps I was doing, but it was still quick enough that it was like kind of hard to play, but also fun and like, yeah, I made it, let's go. Now I feel like it's going to take away a lot of the fun of that puzzle challenge, which is unfortunate. We get new depths of elusive realm, dreams ablaze in darkness. So, and we get more event rewards. We get 1,000 astrites. We get 1,000 astrites every month from the roguelike mode. That's nice, right? Because what is it? 60 times 30. That's 1,800 from dailies over the course of the month. Another 1,000. That's 2,800 from this, and then your TOA, which your TOA is not so much giving. Yeah, no, it is. It's giving astrites. If you're able to max out your TOA, you're making another handful. I mean, that's 20 pulls a month just from those couple game modes. That's not bad at all. That's really not bad at all. 20 pulls a month is pretty much on par with most of the other like Hoyoverse games, other than Genshin, because Genshin's just going to scam you. But like Star Rail, that's about on par with Star Rail. And Star Rail's really generous with that stuff too. So that's actually really good. I know a lot of people have been talking about that there's going to be a pull drought. I think with this change, and if this happens every month, not anymore, which is good. 20 pulls a month, I think, is enough. Mostly, because every month and a half is a patch. Right? So that's every 3 months, it's 60 pulls. That's on average, right? That's about one character every other patch. That's pretty much on par with most other games. Does it suck compared to what people who are able to pay money can get? Yeah. I mean, $100 is 50 pulls. If you make $100 in 5 hours worth of work, 7 hours worth of work, I mean, that saves you a lot of time, of course, but not everyone can afford to pay that because rent is a bitch. So for free to plays, this is nice. I think that increasing the rewards from this is helpful. And we got the new mechanics, token, symphony rank, and some other stuff to make powerful builds. So now we might be able to start getting more like build showcases for this. I know I saw one, it was Baija DPS, and that was super cool. And I think we're going to get more cool things out of this mode now. Yeah, we get Mount Firmament, 800 astrites in the events, tales from it, and traces of it. We get increased convene item version exchange limit. So we're able to get up to 7 of all the convene items, the Radiant Tides, Forging Tides, and Lustrous Tides. So every patch, we get 7. Instead of updating every month, it now is just an increased amount it updates by. So getting 7. And I think the reason they're doing that too is because of our pull economy increasing so much that we are now able to just buy more of those with those blue coral. Like right now I'm sitting on 3,000. I've bought almost the whole shop already. So this is also a pretty good change. Without this, I mean, I'd have so many blue coral by the end of like patch 1.2. I'd be over probably 15,000 at least, right? Other special events, we get another 7-day login event, commission event, combat event, which hopefully the combat event's really hard because that'd be cool. Leveling material double drop event, the echo double drop event, and so on. So leveling material double drop event, those were awesome when we had them a little bit ago. I was able to save up a lot of resources for that. I'm almost out now, but those were awesome. And the double echo drop rewards in version 1.1, farm echoes. It is going to be the best decision you can make with your energy, no matter what UL level you are, as long as your data bank 15 or higher. Farm echoes, because double drop rate, you need those premium tuners. I guess unless you're like a super low UL level that you're not getting the legendary premium tuners, which would be kind of wild. Hold on, 15 at 40, 10 at 30, 5 at 20. I mean, if you're under UL 20, I don't even think you can access them. So pretty much farm echoes if you can. If you can't or don't want to, farm your simulations to be able to get your level materials, because that's going to be a big bolster to most accounts, just getting the materials saved up for patch 1.1 and 1.2 characters. We get Mount Firmament, new quest progress, the expanded detection range for loot mapper. I've never once used the loot mapper, but I assume I will once I start trying to get exploration done. This is kind of nice. Makes things a little bit easier. Resonator gallery feature tells you when you unlocked your new resonators, which is actually super sick. This is a really cool thing that they're adding. It adds a little bit more depth, a little bit more connection with your characters, because you can see when you got them and kind of like a little bit of a gallery history with them, which is kind of cool. I wonder if it shows too when you unlock sequences, because that would also be sick, right? You can, every time you pull them extra times, I mean, that'd be cool to see over the course of like 2 years. It's like you got them first banner, got sequence 1 and 2, the second banner, maybe third banner, you got another sequence, and then the fourth banner you just dumped and got them to sequence 6 and they're your favorite character. That's a cool kind of progressive over time feel, right? But even just seeing when you unlock them, you'll be able to see basically, oh, I got them first day of the patch of the banner, right? Hi, how you doing? Welcome to the stream. New story dialogue feature. We can check all dialogues of completed main quests and companion stories in the gallery as well, which it doesn't let you redo cutscenes, but well, maybe it does. Maybe in the future it does. But it does allow you to keep up on the story, and there's going to be a lot happening in the story. It seems pretty complicated, unlike Genshin, where it's kind of just talk to people until they resolve their own issues via talking and then fight the boss. This game, there's been a lot more lore, just even in the first patch, I feel, at least. So being able to go back and reread all of this is going to be really nice for us to kind of keep up on what's happening and been happening, especially because as a update-based gacha game goes, we're going to end up like not playing it for certain periods of time, then going back with a new update type of thing. So being able to reread some of the story for those lore buffs that are out there is a nice change. And then level requirements lowered for main quests. I actually wish this was out immediately, because I had to wait for some main quests. Mostly main quest 3 I had to wait for, and then I beat 3, and then instead of doing 4, 5, and 6, I stalled and farmed until I was like UL 30. So it didn't affect me too bad, but being able to now, for new players, be able to go straight from main quest Act 3 all the way up to Act 6 if you wanted to, is really nice. Or 4 it is. It's union level 14 to 11 for Act 4. So you beat 3, you can go to 4 pretty quickly, and then 5 and 6 are just available. And also allows you to fight some of the story bosses being underleveled, because UL 14, UL 15, you aren't really gonna have higher than a level 40 character, and like the Dreamless is higher level than that, I believe. Story Fight Dreamless is level 50, because Scar was level 40 something. So yeah, no, because it definitely doesn't, the story definitely doesn't scale with you, because I remember kicking its ass with my level 50s at first, and then the Dreamless boss fight not having nearly as much damage without like the special cutscenes in Gion and all that stuff. But we're now going to be able to fight some of the later bosses with a lot weaker characters, which is going to probably be a fun challenge for people going into the future. Like, I beat all of Wuthering Waves with level 1 Rover, and you just never level your Rover, and you fight all the content, and it doesn't take forever to level your Union level and everything. So that could be fun. And more guidebook activity point quests, which, depending on what happens with this, could be good, could be bad. Reason being, right now, they are really quick to do your dailies. If they make a higher variety that some days maybe dilutes the pool to where you have a couple harder challenges or just more challenges you have to go out of your way for, that could suck, because it just takes more time out of our days. Otherwise, could be a cool change. We got to see what they are adding. And then combat style tags, I don't like this change at all. I know for like casual players to be able to see what characters do, it's nice, but I do not like this change at all because I think depending on how you build a character, any character can be anything, right? For example, Baizhi can be built as a DPS. For example, Jianshin can be a DPS or a support. For example, Yang Yang, largely considered just a grouping support, is actually one of the best DPSs in the game at S5, right? For like a burst ult damage dealer. And they're not going to have all of these tags on everybody that actually would like them. A grand example, Taoshi. Taoshi is widely considered the worst support in the game. She's actually a very, 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 very strong and safe burst ultimate damage dealer, right? On like a hot swap team. Every 15, 16 seconds, you can swap in an ult. And then if you just swap in shield, use your echo skill, maybe do a parry if you're able to time it with the boss's attacks, and then ult, your damage is massive. I mean, like, that's, mine hits for like 50,000 damage at level 60, right? But they're not going to recognize that, most likely, unless they consistently update this combat style after new people show new kind of builds with characters. Maybe, but still, I think this is kind of an unnecessary change. It would be cool for some different filters based on, like, maybe the character has an attack percent buff in their kit, so you can filter for that. Defense percent buff, HP buffs, you know, you can filter between what they do in their kits. Maybe defense shred, a little bit of, like, resistance penetration type stuff. Not just what they do, right? As far as like a combat style, I would prefer a what can they do, not a what they are supposed to do type of thing. Chat system style, when you're in co-op gameplay, the chat box is half size, so it doesn't take up as much of the screen. Cool. I haven't had to deal with that, but for the people who have, I'm assuming it was in the way, and that was annoying, so they're fixing it. Good for you guys. Controller mode gets some more interactions. I do not even care to read this because controller just sounds like it'd be gross to play on. I get console game. I get it. Play mobile or PC. What are you doing on a controller, bro? And then the last part about this update with the Mount Firmament is we get this new boss echo, Jue, which this boss echo, it's better than the Morning Aches in every way, from my knowledge. So legendary rank, the level, obviously you get your stats. I mean, nice scaling, nice stats, especially defense. That scales pretty good. Crit damage, crit rate, everything. That's awesome. Big thing is its skill. Its skill is really long, really long cooldown, 20-second cooldown. You deal some spectral damage to enemies. It hits up to 5 times in total, dealing some more spectral damage to surrounding enemies. Then you descend downward and hit more spectral damage 2 times in a row to surrounding enemies. But that takes a long time. What we're probably going to be seeing it use is, unless you can switch cancel it, which you may not. The big okay, ads, seriously, go away. Big thing with this though is it has a passive effect just by having it equipped. Every 6 seconds, you gain a stack of Blessing of Time, stacking up to 3 times with this echo equipped. When the Resonator performs their resonance skill, 1 stack of it is consumed, dealing 40% spectral damage to the surrounding enemies. The enemies hit receive 10% spectral damage per second over 6 seconds. That's an effective 100% spectral damage every time you skill. Extra, right? Stacking up to 3 times and new stacks extending the effect period. The damage dealt through consuming the stacks of Blessings of Time is considered the resonant skill damage. So think about this with Jinshi, right? Jinshi very easily can go skill, couple attacks, skill, couple attacks, skill, extending this for an effective like 18 seconds of time. Not all of it just being 10% per second. It goes up to 20%, 30% per second. So we can say at the most optimal, you were at 6 seconds, so 60%. The next 6 seconds is going to add the stack, extend the time to go up to 20% for 6 seconds. That's 120%. The third 6 seconds is 180%. So you're looking at 60%? But the 280, that's 360% spectro damage without even having to use your echo, just by using your skill every 6 seconds. So for Jinshi, it just makes it to where her rotation is now dealing pretty good damage scaling as well before you go into your like big skill and your big ult, which also extends it out, right? You're also getting the 40% spectro damage, so that's another 120% on top of 360. It's 480. It's like 500% almost damage. Not even using the echo, just by using your skills. So Jinshi's rotation, because she's skill, 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 skill. She has like 4 skills in her rotation. So you're getting 160 plus just a bunch of passive damage over time. You're looking close to 500, mid 500s to 600% spectro damage just in her rotation, just from this echo. I mean, it's made for Jinshi, of course, but Spectro Rover, they can use it. Their skill's on not a massive cooldown. Vayrina couldn't because her skill's on a longer cooldown, but Spectral Rover actually benefits from this too. It's better in Morning Aches for her, I believe, as well. And if you can switch cancel, you echo out and then outro and switch into whoever else. And the echo actually deals pretty good damage as long as you don't have to hold it down for these extra attacks, right? But even if you do, it's still damage that you wouldn't get otherwise if you didn't do it. And I'm sorry, that was at level 1. Level 5, it's almost 50% spectro damage for a lot of their like main attack scalings. When it's the passive damage, 64% plus 16% every second. So, woo! You're looking at almost 1,000% spectro damage at a 5-star rarity. Just because. I mean, you have to run this on Jinshi. Jinshi cannot use the Morning Ace. You have to run Jue because this piece just makes her damage stupid. It also makes Spectral Rover's damage stupid. And it also, if you were doing some weird like 2-2 set and the boss piece was your off element, you could run this on anybody for just extra off element damage that spam, like, imagine Danjin, right? This is a thought here. Imagine Danjin with this on like a 2-piece Havoc, 2-piece attack set. Spamming skill. Constant burn damage over time with that spectro damage, which it's not like it scales badly. I mean, you're not going to have spectro damage bonus, but you could have a weapon that gives all damage bonus, which would also help accentuate that a little bit. But like actually just consistent damage over time burn plus the bursts every time you skill. Every single time you use your skill. 1 stack every 6 seconds up to 3 times. When they use their skill, they consume dealing damage and hitting enemies and extends the period. So every 6 seconds with Danjin, you get a 64% proc and constant level 3 stacks bleed. So after a little while of the fight, your opponent's taking, what's 16 times 3? 30, 48? 48? 48% of your attack as spectro damage bonus. Every second. Just constantly. It's a constant burn of 50% plus your own like skill combos. That's actually a viable strategy if you're not running Dreamless with Havoc Rover. If you're running like main DPS Danjin, it could very well be more worth it to get your damage from this. Instead of just extra Havoc damage from 5-piece set, you could just use this. I'm actually going to try that because that sounds really awesome. And it's cool having the splits, the split element scaling, which is something I think that the game would be cool to do, is characters with different element scalings in the future, like the Fraxidus characters, right? But so this Echo is going to be sick, and actually, I would say a massive farming priority, and I think this Echo may very well put Spectro Rover in a spot stronger than Havoc Rover, because Havoc Rover, while strong with Dreamless, with the burst damage, doesn't have really great consistent damage over time. It's like a solid 16 to 20 second cooldown for her. With this, your Spectro Rover turns into a main DPS with some of the best frame rate in the game, some of the best parrying in the game, and also at S6 has Defense Shred, Spectro Defense Shred, which increases her own damage even more as a damage dealer, and just stuns. So this actually would probably put Spectro Rover at about on par for damage dealt as Havoc Rover, just because that damage over time is absurd. So this piece is actually going to be really sick, and I'm excited to farm this, because I really think, though, on Danjin, that sounds really fun. Or Ling Yong also can use it, too, now I think about it. Those two characters actually might be fun on 2-piece sets with a Jue boss Echo. That would be so cool.